The main idea behind this double ice strategy is sort of trapping the opponent into thinking that once you show the first ice type, that their Giratina or their Togekiss, whatever it is that they have, is pretty much safe. And then you hit them with the second ice type in the back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Chris Gillespie, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at a team that I tested out in the Open Ultra League, featuring Machamp in the lead with double ice in the back. And if you watched my videos from last season, you would see that double ice was something that I used throughout the entirety of season 2, and it did really well for me. Getting back into that today, I did hit number 119 on the leaderboard today. Never really thought I'd get that high, to be honest, so very happy to have hit it. Definitely not taking it for granted. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to tank off the leaderboard any day now, because I guess I've been getting pretty lucky to get that high. I don't expect to stay that high, obviously, because there's a lot of really good battlers up there and a lot of battlers who are a lot better than me, so I would expect to be taking some pretty rough losses in the coming days, but enjoy it while it lasts. So in tomorrow's video or the day after, we are going to be taking a look at the team that I'm currently using in Ultra League, and it has really worked well for me to help me get this high on the leaderboard, so you guys will definitely want to check out that video. Now let's get into today's battles. So heading into the first matchup here, we are leading Machamp, going up against HFD FIU HV, and as you can see, I got double ice in the back, so this is a pretty interesting team. Gonna lead into Lapras, obviously amazing for us. They're gonna switch on to Swampert. I'm gonna bring in Lapras here. And in most situations, Lapras is going to act as the safe switch here. Obviously, the most common counters you'll see to Lapras in this meta are either Registeel or Melmetal. Melmetal is awful to see. Registeel is bad, but it's more playable. And then Machamp is not that common. Fighters aren't that common. Escavalier isn't that bad. You will lose switch, but you'll do a lot of damage to it and apply shield pressure. So as you can see here, Swampert getting very low. Did shield up one Earthquake, and they're going to throw again. Even if this is an Earthquake, it's not going to KO, so no point to shield here. And we will get to the Surf, and this will knock out the Swampert unless they choose to shield. Probably not going to shield here because we would get to another Surf anyways and maintain switch. So they're going to bring in their own Lapras. So this is fine. Obviously, I don't want to switch out here because I don't want to give up control of switch advantage, just because Lapras actually kind of does really well against Articuno. So I don't want to line up those two. So I'd rather just do as much damage as I can here with the Lapras and then bring in the Machamp. Because most of the time, what they're going to have in the back, like, it's not always the case, but a lot of times people have something weak to Articuno in the back, or at least something Articuno does really well against. If they had a Registeel or something, would have probably... Actually, they wouldn't bring it in because I'm leading Machamp, so that wouldn't make sense. But if they have a Registeel, then we would have to hope that Machamp could save energy here, or rather health. So just throwing these Surfs here, we do get farmed down. This Lapras has a lot of energy, but I'm just going to bring in the Machamp here. We have pretty much a full health Machamp, and we have a shield. Gonna get hit by a couple of Surfs here, but I'm not going to shield these. So there's the first Surf. This is going to be the second one, and this should deplete it of all its energy. So now we can get to work with the counters. I was expecting a switch, but they actually didn't, so we faced a little bit of lag here. Thankfully, we did not get hit by any unnecessary ice shards, because that would have been brutal. Gonna throw the cross chop. This will knock out the Lapras, and they have a Giratina in the back, so all we gotta do is switch in the Articuno here, and pretty much game over at this point. So the main idea behind this double ice strategy is sort of trapping the opponent into thinking that once you show the first ice type, that their Giratina or their Togekiss, whatever it is that they have, is pretty much safe. And then you hit them with the second ice type in the back, and it's pretty much game over. So GG's there. Team Rocket Ebb is up next in match number 2. And a lot of these players that we're seeing, I actually battle multiple times. And you can see here, this is a horrible lead. Giratina, one of my favorite leads in Ultra League against Machamp. Obviously, going to switch out, bring in Lapras, and we get met by Obstagoon. Now, Obstagoon obviously is doing a lot of damage with the counters, but its charge moves, even with Cross Chop, they're not that threatening to Lapras. Like, Cross Chop does hurt, but a lot of people are just running Night Slash and maybe Gunk Shot. So Cross Chop won't be there. Night Slash, you can see, doesn't do too much. Now if he gets the boost with Night Slash, pretty much game over. But it's supposed to be like 12% chance, I think, so it shouldn't happen too often. Night Slash comes through again, and you can see here we get to a Surf. I'm gonna throw this. And we're actually gonna get the shield there, so that's really good for us. And we should be able to possibly get to a second Surf here if they don't throw. But they were aware of that, so they are going to throw their energy, which is fine, because now we could bring in Machamp and pretty much farm this down. And we should be able to farm down before we get to another move. The Giratina is going to come back in now. Now we do have a shield advantage, so this is really good for us. Gonna throw the Rock Slide here. And basically our hope at this point is that they don't have another counter for Articuno. So we are going to be facing Dragon Claw here, so I'm going to shield this up, preserve health on my Machamp, and switch out into Articuno. And they bring in a Charizard. Now this is the one time where you don't want Hurricane on Articuno and you want Ancient Power. And a lot of times they're not going to expect the Ancient Power because they think people are in Hurricane. Boom, that is huge for us because that's... Let me rephrase that. That is good for us because that's going to give us the win against Charizard. All we gotta do is shield. Here I knew he was throwing Dragon Claw because he didn't build up enough energy for a Blast Burn. That was the only reason I didn't shield there, because obviously Blast Burn would pretty much KO. But he made it too obvious at that point that it was just the Dragon Claw. Do have to shield the second one though, but that's totally fine because now we can farm. And I'm gonna get off this Icy Wind onto the Giratina. And getting off this Icy Wind is going to debuff the Giratina's attack enough that our Machamp could come in and actually win this game now with Rock Slides. So you can see here they're going to be throwing the Dragon Claws, and because it's been debuffed and they can't switch out to reset it because they have no more Pokemon, we're in a really good spot now because I'm going to get to this Rock Slide. The next charge move from Giratina is not going to knock us out, and we should be able to get to one more move here. At this point, Cross Chop should be enough. And even if they did hit us with the charge move, Articuno has enough health in the back to hit it with a couple of Ice Shards and take the game. So you can see they're hitting the Icy Wind was very crucial in allowing Machamp to take that match against the Giratina. So DT 717 in match number 3, going to lead Machamp into Melmetal. So again, a very good lead for us. And basically the Mewtwo comes in here. So I bring in Articuno because most Mewtwo's are running Side Strike and Dynamic Punch. So if this is what the Mewtwo is running, great matchup for Articuno. Choose to shield the first one, happens to be Rock Slide. Rock Slide is absolutely horrible for this team because it's going to be destroying Articuno and also Lapras. So Lapras obviously will lose to that Dynamic Punch anyways, but because this is running Rock Slide, it's actually going to beat the Articuno too, and we basically have no play here. We're going to lose switch advantage now because of that, even if I debuff this thing. So very unfortunate. I'm already down 2 shields, and this Mewtwo running the unorthodox moveset, I guess you could say, of Rock Slide. It might be even running Rock Slide and Dynamic Punch, to be honest, is going to cost us. And I needed to farm down there. We were not able to get to the farm down. So this Rock Slide is going to KO even with the double debuff. So not good. We're down 2 shields. Bring back in Machamp. They have switch advantage. They have 2 shields. They bring in Togekiss. I'm going to get 1 shield here. And I could bring in the Articuno now, but basically he has Melmetal. Melmetal is going to hard wall the Lapras rather. So Lapras here. This is you could see that Mewtwo with the Rock Slide, definitely unexpected, and definitely played a huge role in allowing the opponents win this game, because had that Mewtwo had the Dynamic Punch instead, we would have maintained switch advantage, and then basically just align the Lapras with Togekiss, Machamp with the Melmetal, and it would be a pretty straightforward win. But because of the Rock Slide, they do end up taking switch control, and now they have the alignment that they want of Melmetal onto my Lapras and their Togekiss onto my Machamp. So very well played by the opponent there. And at this point, basically, our only hope here was to commit to a farm down and then have 2 Rock Slides to throw at the Togekiss, which definitely was not happening. So they take that game quite convincingly. And next match against Raycore. I've had a lot of battles against this guy in the past few days. Machamp into Escavalier. So this is actually a very good matchup for Machamp. All we have to do is shield the first charge move, and then we could basically commit to a farm down after throwing the Cross Chop. So Drill Run is going to come through here. I'm going to throw the Cross Chop, And then we should be able to commit to a farm down here. Assuming they don't shield. They don't, so we'll just farm down. We have some energy now on the Machamp. Let's see what they bring in. It's a Cresselia. So I'm going to throw this Rock Slide. And we're going to switch out into the Articuno. And basically switching here doesn't really make too much of an impact because I'm either going to bring a Lapras or I'm going to bring an Articuno. They're both pretty much the same thing. They're Ice-type Pokemon, so if they're going to counter one of them, they're going to counter both, most likely. They bring a Lapras. Obviously, I'd rather have the Lapras of my own on this Lapras, but this is fine. So I'm going to throw the Ancient Powers here. I think throwing Ancient Power makes more sense than throwing the Icy Wind, just because if you get the boost, it flips this match completely. And if they could still switch out to reset the debuffs anyways, so there's no real point in throwing Icy Wind here. Just going to go Ancient Power. If the match was different with shields and the amount of Pokemon they had, then yes, maybe throwing Icy Wind would make more sense. But in this particular scenario, I don't think it does. So the Lapras here is going to throw Surf. You can make the argument that I could have shielded here and actually took out this Lapras. That might have made more sense, but I chose not to, only because I didn't want to go down 2 shield. So I'm going to bring in my own Lapras now. And we're down a shield, but we have a full health Lapras here. I would assume their last Pokemon is probably weak to Lapras. So they switch back into the Cresselia here. And let's see if this is going to be a Grass Knot. It's actually a Moonblast, but they get the attack debuff there. So my attack falls, and you're going to see that plays a huge role in the outcome of this match. So Future Sight comes through here. I switch out into Articuno because I didn't want to be hitting any more lowered attack. So I'm going to throw this Icy Wind here. And if we had just got off one Ice Shard without that attack debuff, it would have been huge in the end, as you're going to see. So the Cresselia is throwing here. And I'm going to let this go through. Gonna throw the Surf. And we're gonna throw another Surf here. And you're gonna see that this leaves the Cresselia literally with like 0.1 health. If we had hit that Ice Shard without the debuff, it would have knocked it out and we wouldn't have had to use the shield here on the Cresselia. So they bring in the Lapras here. We could have used the shield here instead. Now we're gonna get hit by the Surf. And had we had the shield still for that, we would have been able to survive this next Surf that they beat us to, and then we would land the Surf of our own to win the game. So GG's, it happens. You're gonna get hit by the Moonblast sometimes. I mean, I'm running a Pokemon that basically always debuffs the opponent's attacks, so can't really get too mad at getting hit by it, but it definitely hurts a lot more when you get debuffed by a 10% chance as opposed to when it's a 100%. So 5th match of the set here, another bad lead. Giratina again, gonna switch into Lapras. They bring in a Escavalier, and as you're going to see here, this actually isn't too bad of a match. I'm gonna build up for 2 Surfs here. This is likely going to be a Drill Run. It's actually a Mega Horn. Okay, that does a lot of damage, you can see, but Lapras is tanky, it could take that. And we're gonna throw 2 Surfs. So you're gonna see these Surfs still add up quite a bit. And the first one hits, the second one comes through now. And basically the opponent is in a pretty tough spot here because this won't KO, but it's gonna leave it very low. So they decide to let it go through. And I think that's the correct way to play it out. But I could just come in with Machamp now and basically farm this down. Get a bit of an energy lead. Able to farm down before it gets to another move. Had I shielded the Lapras there, would have probably changed the outcome there. You could see the opponent, I don't know if they accidentally came in with the wrong Pokemon or if they were just trying to blind switch at the same time as me, but I think a big part of that was them not expecting me to have a second Ice type there when they made that switch. And as you could see, it's a Togekiss, so all I gotta do here is just shield up whatever the Togekiss throws at me, debuff it with the Icy Wind, and this is pretty much switched the entire matchup into our favor. So I'm going to throw the Icy Wind. This actually KOs the Togekiss. I think preserving the Togekiss there and trying to add up with charm damage might have made more sense than leaving the Giratina here in the back, because once I hit this Giratina with the Icy Wind, even if they shield it, just getting the debuff on its attack is the most important thing here, because Machamp will be able to come in and face a attack debuffed Giratina, and it's running Shadow Claw, so it's not going to be as bad as when Dragon Breath comes, because even Dragon Breath with the lowered attack is still going to do a lot of damage, but Shadow Claw is definitely not as oppressive as Dragon Breath. So we're going to get hit by these charge moves. They're going to add up, but as you can see, we should be able to build up to 2 Rock Slides, throw back to back here, and even if this doesn't KO, Articuno should be able to come back in and clean up, because this second Rock Slide is going to KO, and if it doesn't, they have to throw energy anyways because they can't farm down before we would be able to with counter. So we take that match against a Giratina lead, so a very unfavorable lead, but we were able to flip it around because of the double ice type in the back and basically trapping the opponent. And this was the last set, I believe, before I switched to my current team, which has been performing extremely well, so make sure you stay tuned for the next video on that. So this was a little glimpse into the double ice strategy. I don't necessarily use Machamp all the time. This was more so just a test run because I wanted to hard counter all the Melmetal I was seeing. But in tomorrow's video, we're going to be taking a look at the real double ice team that I've been using to great success. I went over 100+ points so far in the 2600s, so it's performing really well for me, and I'm really excited to be able to show that to you guys in the next video, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.